Hello everybody, it's Mrs. Novoselsky, and this is day 10 of my growing beans journal. I have very exciting news, and I made some observations, asked some questions, and then made some changes. So, first thing I want to show you is these are the best. I'm so excited about this. These are the red beans that I was growing in the baggie. Look at them. They're so big. They're pushing the baggie up. They are definitely successful. Look at how exciting they are. Maybe you guys aren't as excited about them as I am, but I think they're really cool. So this worked really well. So then, let's see. I put those red beans in the jelly jar a few days ago. Ooh, and they're doing really well too. See them in there? They're growing too. Now remember, I started them almost 2 weeks after the ones in the baggie. So of course they're going to be behind. They're not as easy to see though in there. Okay, then let's see. We had the navy beans that I was growing like this. And I have to tell you, I don't really like this method. I don't think I would grow any more like that. They're in there still. They kind of started growing. But I'm not sure. I think they might be dying. And they're really hard to see. And they keep drying out. So I keep having to get them wet. These other two, these ones, I barely ever have to put any water in. So I can kind of put them in there. And I forgot about them. And then they grew, which was great. I put a top on the wild rice container because I observed that the containers that were closed up, like the baggie and the jelly jar, tended to grow faster. So I thought maybe if I put a top on the wild rice, then maybe it would grow. So this is just a beeswax wrap. You could use Tupperware, you could use Tupperware. That would work too. I don't know. I'm not sure about this. It might just be that wild rice doesn't grow. I mean, they're kind of opening up. But it could also be that wild rice doesn't work. I'm not sure. So I'm going to keep them in there because they're not rotten like the pine nuts were. But they're not really doing much. So I'm going to cover them back up. They are still damp, so I'm just going to cover them up. I'm going to put the beeswax wrap back on top and put them back in the sun and see what happens. And then the last thing I did that I wanted to share with you, because the baggie was working so well, I took some navy beans. Navy beans were the ones that we put in here. They were the little tiny white beans. And they're not really working in this one that's tipped upside down. So I thought, is it the navy beans that's making it so that they don't work? Or is it the upside down jar that's making it not work? So I took some navy beans. I put them in. I got the paper towel damp. You can kind of see it in there. See right there is a navy bean inside. Actually, I'll pick them in there. So I decided to try the moist paper towel in a baggie method. Let's see if you can see them in there. Where'd it go? They're hard to see. Anyway, here, I'll pull one out. There it is. And I'm just going to tuck it into the damp paper towel. Close it up. Put it in the sun. So I'll check back with you guys in a couple of days. We'll see how the navy beans are doing. If the navy beans work, unless I come up with any new observations, I think we are going to declare this experiment a success. I am going to write down what I'm seeing here in like an observation journal, or I could even just describe it in my video here. I can see that they have a green sprout coming out of them. The first thing that came out was a root, and now they're growing taller. The beans got big. Those were my observations. So I will check back with you guys in a couple of days, and this was a very exciting experiment. See you soon. We are going to watch this really cool video of a seed growing in the ground. It's called a time lapse video, which means that it's speeding up what's happening in real life so that we can see how it goes. Okay, here we go. So there's the root. Do you guys see the sprout coming now? The sprout is the green part up here. And these are all roots. There we go. Doesn't it kind of look like ours? Does ours look like that or not quite yet? Here we go. Here's the leaves and the stem. It's getting more and more leaves. Isn't it cool how plants actually move? You don't think of plants as moving, but they do move. They try to reach to the sun, try to reach to the rain. See all the roots underneath? Now they're speeding it up even faster. And we're just watching the roots. Isn't that amazing? Look at them go underground. What do you think the roots do, you guys? Why are they there? There's a lot of them. Do you guys think that will happen to our plants? I don't know. Okay, boys and girls, now that we have watched the video to see what my beans are doing, and then we watched the time lapse video, I want us to go back through and look at, well, first go through, remember to do the file, make a copy, where is it going? Make a copy, entire presentation, and okay, so you have a copy of the file. Let me do that. Make a copy, entire presentation, hit okay. And what we're going to be looking at is that we've been learning about patterns. And I want to look to see if there's patterns in the way that seeds grow. And I want to think about if we think our beans and seeds will follow that same pattern. So while you were watching the video about what my seeds are doing, while you're looking at your beans, while you watched that time lapse video where the bean grew very quickly, and while you're looking at the life cycle of the pumpkin and the apple and the sunflower, I want you to think to yourself, what is the same? Because remember, a pattern is when something is the same. So I want you to think, what is the same between my bean, the bean in the video, and the pumpkin? And let's see what we can come up with. So we've made our copy now. So first, fill out your science journal. Using the same bean you've used the other days. Unless something happened to your bean and it didn't work out, then go ahead and choose a different one, okay? So write the date and the day. What bean or seed are you observing? What did you notice? What's different about your bean today? What's new? Draw a picture. Make sure you label if there are any new parts. Remember, the root came out first, that comes out the bottom, and then we start having the sprout is what comes above the ground. Now, well, in a few days, we'll do that. Make sure you draw the baggie or the jar or whatever yours is growing in. And then what questions and predictions do you have? Now, this is just a review. These are slides that we saw yesterday. So we're going to look at how the different seeds grow. So we have the seed, then we have, remember we put in the middle, we put the seed gets a root in it, then it sprouts, then it grows a vine, a flower, a pumpkin, a green pumpkin, and an orange pumpkin. The sunflower also starts with the seeds, then it gets a root, then a sprout, then a plant, a grown-up plant with a flower, and the seeds fall to the ground. So what is the same between the pumpkin and the sunflower? Can you guys think of anything? Do they start out the same? Could that be a pattern? That it goes from seeds to roots to sprouts to a little tiny plant? Is that a pattern that we saw between the pumpkin and the sunflower? Is that a pattern that we saw with our seeds? Is that a pattern that we saw with the seed in the time-lapse video? Did it start as a seed? Did it grow a root first? And then the little sprout that popped above the ground? And then a little tiny plant, and then the plant got bigger and bigger? Let's look at the apple and let's see if it does the same type of thing. So it starts with a seed, and then we remember yesterday we said the seed grows a root, then there's a seedling, then it grows into a tree, then it gets flowers, and then it gets an apple. Is there something similar there too? Does it seem to have the same pattern? So let's take a look at how we're going to answer these questions. So the first question just says, what happens first when a seed starts to grow? What did we see happen with our seeds first? What was the first thing that happened? I want you to write that down. Then, what comes next in the pattern of how a plant grows? In all of these, what happened next? Then what happens at the end when the plant stops growing? This one's a little bit harder, and I want you to think about it for a little while. What do the plants do? And this is what makes it so that they can have more plants grow. So what's at the end? What do they do to make sure that new plants can grow? And this is the question I'm really interested to see what you have to say. Do you think all plants follow this pattern? Will our seeds follow this pattern? What do you think? So answer those questions and then go ahead and hit share and turn it in to me so I can see your work. You can also do the work on Seesaw.